Hi everyone, it's Tess from teachwithtess.com, and I'm here today to talk to you. This is going to be a fairly long video, so what I thought I would do is to put together something that will answer hopefully all the questions you have about the company I work for, which is Wales English. Now, you know, I've done bits on pay and I've done pros and cons and I've done this, that and the other, but I haven't actually done one video where you can hear everything about the company. So I thought that would be what I'm going to attempt to do today. There may be a few cuts and additions, etc., but I just thought it would be helpful for you to have everything you need to know in one place. So let's go. So first of all, Wales English used to be called Sprout English, which was set up 8 years ago by a group of parents who wanted high quality online teaching opportunities for their kids, and there just simply wasn't anything that suited them. So it's got history. It's been around for 8 years and it became Wales English recently, and now has a substantial size of the market. They are also a very successful company in that their renewal rate of students is something in the 80s. So that is really great as a teacher, because it means that they have a consistent and constant amount of students who go through their first classes and then renew for more. So we get jobs, we have work, it's what we want. So Wales is based in Beijing, and it has a great setup for us teachers. So let me move on to that. So for teachers, what's it like? So if I start with the onboarding process, the interview process. Now at the moment, I'm making this video in April 2020, so you will all know that we are in coronavirus land. So I know from the referrals that I've had and just seeing chatter on Facebook groups that everybody and their friend are applying to do online teaching work at the moment, because unfortunately so many people aren't working, or bricks and mortars teachers have nothing to do. As such, they have online classes, but they haven't really got much work. So there's a lot of people who are looking for work, and it is very hard to get into Wales English at the moment. They are picky anyway, as I've said in other videos, they are picky. They just want the best teachers. It's great because it means that the level of teaching is fantastic at Wales, but it's quite complex to get in. It's quite difficult to get in. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of people who do not get even through this process, the screening process at the moment, simply because Wales English has so many fantastic CVs and fantastic teachers applying, and you have to be right at the top to get through. So I would say if you don't get through this time around, you can reapply in 6 months. Please do, because it's quite likely that things will have calmed down. People will have started, we all hope, going back to their normal jobs and certainly in schools, and that there will be more possibilities to join Wales, because they are a fantastic company to work for. So when you go through the interview process, when you go through that interview process, you will receive, you submit all your information. You fill in the online form. Please use my referral link if you haven't applied yet and you're considering doing so. It's below. But if you do want some support on the CV, I would, absolutely recommend you send it either to me or to somebody who has experience with online teaching, because the CV is often the thing where people fall. Because if you haven't got a CV that really gets their attention instantly, it probably will fall by the wayside, simply because they're seeing so many CVs at the moment. So anyway, assuming you get through, you then have your mock class and your interview, which lasts approximately 30 minutes. So they do an interview with you first and ask you lots of questions. So you can see my interview video with a bit more detail on that. But they'll be asking you about why you want to work for Wales, what it is about the company, what sort of teacher you are, what attracts you to online teaching, and the really obvious things are to sell yourself as a teacher and that you're passionate about working with children and you love it and this, that and the other. Please don't say that you love working in pyjamas and you want to travel around the world, even though that might be your driver to do it. Could well be just that you need to earn money as well. But first and foremost, say that you love Wales and you want to work with children. So when you've done the interview part, you will then go on to the class. So again, I coach all my referrals and help them to prepare for the mock class, but they will be looking for use of TPR, total physical response. They'll be looking for engagement. They'll be looking for a lot of student talk time. They'll be looking for peer-to-peer questioning if possible. Even though there's only one of them, you can say, in a real classroom, I would be saying, encouraging you to do this, that and the other. They look for a bit of external content as well, and they are also very strict with time. So the interview process is that when you've finished your class, you will hear very quickly whether or not you've been successful. Assuming you have, you're onboarded, which is a process of a few days. You fill in your profile, you upload everything, you make a fantastic profile video, very important, and then you are launched into the Wales English world. So when you start as a teacher, you start with trials. Okay, so trial classes are the first thing you will get, and now from April you get all teachers are on $18 an hour when they start trials. Now you will see, or will probably see, that Wales pay between $18 and $26 an hour, or 18 and 30 even. Completely possible, knowing that with trials, if you're teaching at the weekend peak hours, so it's from 7 to 9 p.m. Beijing time, you get your $18 pay plus a $5 bonus, so that takes it up to 23 immediately. Then if your students are signed onto Wales as regular classes, you get another 5. Okay, so that will show you that there is a real way of earning money while you're as a trial teacher. So that's the first thing. You will be teaching trials, and when they assess that your teaching is good enough to start moving on to regular classes, and that you have done all the training involved, you start having regular classes. When you start, you need to do your training. It can be quite overwhelming because there's so much that they send you. They send you emails of, can you do this class training? Can you do that class training? And when you've done it, it means that you can teach the class. So although it's quite overwhelming, it's probably a good thing to do, simply because it means that you will be offered out to more parents to be able to teach those classes. So you go through the training, you fill in questionnaires to make sure you've understood it, and then you are launched as such. I find the training quite useful. You can carry on, and once you've done the initial training, you can have refreshers. They offer personal one-to-one training for trials teachers as well, so you can run through your lessons and see if there's anything else that you can add. It's really supportive like that. I think it's great. So do your training. The second thing that they do very well at Wales English is provide support for you as a teacher. So they're the people in charge and responsible for sort of promoting you to the parents and making sure communication flows. And they are really, really wonderful people. My experience has been fantastic with them. If I've had any problems, or if I've needed to change a class or reschedule a class because I was traveling, for instance, and I couldn't get out of it and couldn't find Wi-Fi to teach it, they are the people to turn to. That support that you get from Wales is fantastic, and it tends to shrink the world a bit. So you may be wherever you are living and teaching, and Beijing is miles away, but it does make it feel like a smaller community. So you've got some support from Wales in that perspective. You've also got support from the Facebook groups. They're fantastic. You've got an official group and a lounge group. There's a prospective teachers group as well. So there's really brilliant people in there who answer questions, and no question is silly. So there's a huge amount of support for teachers at Wales English. I'm going to talk about the classes a bit more now. So when you've done all your training, you are qualified to teach ESC, so English Starter Class courses, which are 25 minutes long, and they are for children around from the age of 3 upwards who need to learn to read. So they are based on the Bob books, which are just brilliant, and I love these lessons. I do a lot of them, and I also do some teacher training for the ESC course, and they're great fun. They are great fun and they are successful. I have seen students that I've been teaching really progress and go from not really knowing anything to actually reading, and it's a real, eye-opening, hallelujah, celebratory moment. So you've got your ESC classes. All the rest of the classes are 50 minutes long, and they will go from, the kindergarten age ability upwards. Teaching those sort of children is great fun, and you have a wide range of abilities and a wide range of ages. Actually, you can teach, as I said, from 3 all the way upwards to about 14, I think is the oldest I've seen. So all the classes that you have, you're provided with curriculum, you're provided with the classes, you do not have to prepare content. Having said that, I always tend to have something up my sleeve for extensions, or, I like bringing in external content, maybe a short video, some pictures, personalize it. I often share pictures of my kids or my animals or where I live, and, that sort of thing, so we can, relate and build rapport. The curriculum in general is pretty good. Some of the classes and courses I think could be improved, but I would say that's probably the same with many companies, but they are a good solid foundation for you to start on, and you don't have to spend hours preparing them. When you teach, the classes all require, but not every week, they require feedback, and for some of the majority of the classes also give you homework, so you do have homework to mark. But basically, I think they facilitate your teaching as much as possible. Now, when you've been teaching, how else do you grow as a teacher? Well, through evaluations. So that's another thing that Wales do. They evaluate randomly your classes, and you're usually evaluated once a month. And that can be quite an interesting experience. I've had the majority of my evaluations, so they're between 1 and 5. If you're at 1, you won't be in the company anymore, that's for sure. But the majority of my evaluations have been between 4.5 to 5. But it's useful because it helps you evolve as a teacher and develop as a teacher, because if you're in a bricks and mortar school, well, you have evaluations all the time, you have lesson observations, etc. So, it's great that they do that. They take it seriously. They really want their teachers to be the best they can possibly be, and they're cheering for you and they're helping you grow. So they do evaluate, which is great. Another thing that they are good at is communication. Which I personally love. So they communicate through email, they communicate on their Facebook pages, they do all this sort of stuff. So communication is fantastic, and obviously through your contact people. Now, the other thing obviously that everyone wants to know about is pay. So I touched on it earlier. If you're a new teacher, you are paid $18 an hour for your initial trial classes. This is non-negotiable. I've had questions about, could I try and ask for more? No. When you're doing trials, that is the pay. And as I said, in April 2020, they have got so many people applying, they don't need to really negotiate. Having said that, as a regular teacher, regular class teacher and trial class teacher, I'll give you another a bit of insight. So I started in November 2019. It's taken me, knowing that there was Christmas, there was Chinese New Year, and then there was the coronavirus, so it's been a bit of a funny time. I am now teaching, I think it's 16 hours of regular classes a week. 16 hours, more lessons, but 16 hours. Plus I average about 8 hours of trial classes at weekend. So you can do the maths, that's a fair amount of teaching. So the pay is decent. I've been, gradually going up every month, and I'm now over $2,000 a month with the bonuses that I touch, and that really helps. obviously. They pay well, as in on time. They pay through Payoneer. So if you're like me, I'm in the UK and I don't have a United States dollar, a dollars account, but what I use is a TransferWise borderless account. They pay well, they pay on time, they're reliable. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was, what else? Tech. So I would say that there has been, and you will probably hear, there's been quite a bit of quite a few challenges in Wales on their tech, on their platform, because you may or may not know, Zoom is now illegal. You can't use it in China, and for ages Wales English had their teachers teach with Zoom, and it worked fine, it was great, teachers loved it, no problem, they screen share. Now they've built the Wales English app. Now we use a laptop to teach, and there are teachers out there who really struggle with this app. There are teachers who consistently and constantly find that they have an issue getting into classes, or there's no sound, or it glitches, or this, that and the other. And the problem is that Wales English had to develop this app and launch it before it was 100% ready because of the regulations that came into force in China. So it's a real difficult one, this, because I have no problems with it. I've been teaching with this app for 5 months, and I think I've had one problem. Now, when you have tech issues with Wales, they have firemen, so you can use the firemen who are there to sort of help as much as possible and get the system or your platform and help you as much as possible. Personally, if I've had any problems, I've managed to resolve them myself. But be aware that there can be tech issues, and I know for some teachers it's super stressful. It's not funny at all. The other thing I would say relating to tech is, if you're wondering this, you have to use a laptop to teach with Wales. You have to have a headphone like this with a microphone. Noise cancelling is best. You have to have fast internet, and you need to ensure, if possible, that it's cable that's wired with an Ethernet. It's much, much, much more relaxing to know that your internet is good. I travel quite a lot, or at least I used to, and I've taught in some very dodgy situations with very dodgy Wi-Fi, and it's the most stressful thing ever. As a regular class teacher, the lessons are either 25 minutes, as I said, or 50 minutes, and you are signed up as a regular class, or you have a regular class that lasts about 30 weeks. Now, again, you do the maths, that's quite a long time, and you're teaching it every week. So one thing that you can do is to take holiday, and Wales English allow you to take 1 to 2 day breaks every 6 months, and one longer holiday of 14 days it is currently every 6 months. So it does allow you to have a break, because if you're teaching, I teach 7 days a week, and after 5 months I'm beginning to think I wouldn't mind a bit of a break here. So even though you are working every week and you have these classes long time, you can take a break. And the real upside of these regular classes is the fact that you are paid, and know that you're going to be paid for 30 weeks. So you can do the calculation, what your income will be every week, every month, and that is fantastic, because that really helps with security, and obviously it goes up as your hours go up. So it's brilliant. When you start at Wales English, you may be asking, how long does it take to build up the lessons? So as I said, I started in November. I probably really started teaching in December. Then it's taken me 3 months, I would say 3 months, to start hitting 12 regular classes a month, I'd say. And now they're coming on, and I've only got 5 slots left at the 5 o'clock peak time to teach now. So I'm pretty much full with what I can offer, because I don't do the morning classes in Beijing, because for me it's the middle of the night and I just don't want to do that. I don't think I'd survive. Anyway, so there's a lot of information in there. My overall summary and assessment of Wales English is that they are a great company to work for. I'm a great believer in you get back what you give, if you see what I mean. So I'm very supportive of Wales. I make my CS and TS's life very easy, or as easy as possible. I'm super reliable. I do not miss lessons. I do have good tech. I do have good internet. I prep my lessons, and because of all of that, they've offered me, there are opportunities that have come through, such as doing the teacher training. I've done a bit of content for them. They are a great company, so I thoroughly recommend applying for them. Be aware that it's a very competitive time, not easy to get into. Please don't take it personally, even if you're really qualified, that you don't get through. Try again in 6 months. And if you have any questions at all about Wales English, please just email me. My email is here. And check out my other videos about Wales. So it's been lovely to talk to you. I hope it's been useful. Please click the subscribe button below if you find what I do interesting. Not too waffly. A like button as well, and feel free to use my referral link if you want to apply to Wales English, which I really hope you do, because they're fab. Thanks so much. Bye.